Welcome back. In this video I'm going to unbox and review the Sony SmartWatch 3, also known as the SWR50, which you can get from various places for about £100, and I'll leave a link to it down in the description box below in case you want to take a look at it yourself. Remember to subscribe, because at 20,000 subscribers I'm going to give away an iPad mini to one of you. Now, I decided to review this watch because I went to Amazon.com and it was basically the best selling smartwatch on there, and not only that, but the reviews of it was spectacular. People are raving about this watch, so I thought, well, I've got to take a look at that. You can see it comes in this really attractive sort of clear plastic packaging, and inside obviously we've got the watch, as we can see, and a load of paper as well, including a manual and sort of adverts and warranties and stuff, but not really interesting. So I think we'll just get straight on and take a look at the watch. So the first thing that strikes you about this watch is that it's exceptionally well made. It's got a nice weight to it, feels like good quality, and it's just stylish too. We've got this chrome button on the side, a chrome, sort of brushed chrome backing there. The strap is quite nice. It's got this funny mechanism which feels solid and kind of looks quite good as well, and this rubber strap which doesn't feel cheap like a lot of the sort of cheap Chinese smartwatches. And one of the cool things about this watch is you can obviously buy other straps for it, and to remove it you just basically unclip it from the strap like that. You're left with this sort of electrical watchy gubbinsy bit which feels very sturdy again and looks pretty cool. And on the back of this you can see the micro USB charging port. There is obviously a micro USB cable that comes with it for charging. It's in a little bit of an awkward position. That's really one of the only negative things you're going to hear me say about this watch, to be honest, because I think it is pretty cool. So one of the first great plus points about this watch is that it's compatible with iPhones and Android phones. All you have to do is download the Android Wear app for your iPhone or Android phone, which are freely available in their respective app stores. If you use it with an iPhone, you will get reduced functionality, and I'll show you, first of all, I'll show you how to use this with an iPhone and explain exactly which functions are missing. So there's a software update procedure on the watch which I've run, and it's now running the absolute up-to-date version of the Android Wear operating system, and this is the home screen. You can see I've got this kind of picture background wallpaper on here at the moment. To change the wallpapers, as is pretty standard with smartwatches, you tap the screen for a second or two and you can scroll through all of these different watch faces. There's loads on here. Now, when it's paired to an iPhone, you're basically limited to these and the few extra ones in the app, which I'll show you in a minute. So if you swipe down from the top of the screen, you get some options. So for example, you can turn notifications on and off. Cinema mode, so this is basically going to make sure that the screen and the vibration and the sound doesn't come on. So basically it's a kind of silent mode. If we swipe up from the bottom, we can see the notifications. So these are synced from my iPhone. Here's a Groupon one. You dismiss them by moving to the right. And then the final notification it will show you is the weather. And it's actually using the GPS on my iPhone to basically get my location and show me a 4-day weather forecast. If we swipe from the right like that, then we get this sort of menu, and we can do things like, OK Google, when is the next Norwich City football match? So there we go, that's pretty cool. And you can also do other things on there, like it's got some examples like make a timer, set an alarm, start stopwatch, or have a look at your agenda. So that's pretty cool. Now, one of the most pointless features on this that I'm still going to show you is the torch feature. So this basically just makes the screen bright and white. I'm not really sure how, if I turn my camera lighting off, I mean, it's not very illuminating, is it? Compared to, for example, using the flash on an iPhone as a torch. But I guess, as a last resort, it's probably not a bad feature to have. We've got a timer. There's an example of a minute timer here. So now, obviously, it's counting down from a minute. Agenda. So here, I've got this set up to sync from my iPhone calendar. So it's showing me that it's a New Year bank holiday today. We can also set alarms. So basically the hours and the minutes, and pretty standard feature really for a smartwatch. We've got the fit functions here, which use the accelerometer in the watch as a pedometer. So here you can see I wore it yesterday and today, and it's got a record of the steps. that I've done. Now the problem is you can't sync any of this with the iPhone version of this app, but if you've got an Android phone then you can sync that information. And you can also change your sort of goal steps here, so currently it's set to 6,000. And the watch can send you sort of notifications to remind you to get up and walk around. One feature that I really liked on this watch was the translate feature. So I can change the language. I know a little bit of French, so let's change it to French. And now if we speak to it in English, it will give us the translation in French. Excuse me, where is the toilet, please? Excusez-moi, où est la toilette? And actually I've just noticed if you then tilt it away from you like that, it shows you a bigger version of the text, which I guess you can show to a stranger so that they can see the question you're asking them. I think that's a really cool feature actually. And then we've got a number of settings on here like the brightness, the font size, gestures. So these are things like if we turn the watch towards us, it turns the watch on. Obviously all of these additional features, they all use battery life, but as I said earlier, the battery life on this watch is pretty good, so I'm not too worried about that. And there's obviously location services here. Now this just uses the GPS on your phone, but the only location service that works with the iPhone is the weather. I think we'll see when we pair this with an Android phone that basically allows us to use Google Maps. I'm going to show you the Android Wear app now on my iPhone. So if you want to use the Sony SmartWatch 3 with an iPhone, you need to install the Android Wear app, which is freely available in the Apple App Store. And here you can see that I've already paired it with the SmartWatch 3 and it's come up with a little logo, which is quite cool. Now the functionality in this app is significantly reduced compared to if you were using it with an Android phone, which I will also show you. But there are a number of cool things that you can do on here. The best feature is that you can install other watch faces. So here we've got a selection. It shows us the last 3 that we've installed, and if I click more, we get a list of other watch faces that we can just install, as well as these ones. If you click the link at the bottom of the page here, you get a whole load of other sort of almost designer ones here that you can install as well. Now, you can't install any other watch faces other than those, unlike if you were using this on an Android phone where the selection would be sort of endless. There's a number of settings we can change as well. So we've got the always on screen, which I'll show you now. So you can see that basically the screen is always slightly on, but it looks like with the backlight off maybe, so that in sunlight and stuff you can still see the time without actually having to turn the screen on. Tilt to wake, so this is the sort of recognition of moving your wrist towards your face so that the screen turns on. Card previews, so I think these are basically the notifications. Calendar cards, you can choose whether or not the calendar or schedule uses your Apple iCalendar or a Google Calendar. Email cards, now these only work with Gmail. Blocked app notifications, so you might get quite a few notifications come through to the watch and you might want to selectively stop some of those. There's some very simple guides on here that are basically telling you how to use the OK Google features, so you can say like OK Google agenda and it will show you your current agenda for the day. So using this with an iPhone, you do get notifications like message notifications and app notifications. You obviously get a great choice of watch faces, and you can use OK Google to sort of, oh there we go, to look things up on the internet, you know, which is pretty good. Just before I show you this paired with an Android phone, I would like to make another good point about this watch. The battery life on this I think is pretty fantastic. Compared to say the Motorola 360 or some of the fake sort of Chinese watches that I've reviewed in the past, this watch seems to last days. Furthermore, if you fully charge it and then turn it off, the battery life doesn't seem to go down at all. I mean, I've left it for a month and it's still not depleted. So really a very impressive battery life on this, which I'm guessing is one of the reasons why people like this watch so much. So I've unpaired it from my iPhone, which basically did a factory reset on the watch. And now it's asking us to set it up again. So we're going to set it up, connect your watch to a power source. Okay, I better do that. Download the Android Wear app. Well, I've done that and it's running here on the phone, so we're going to click Set It Up. Connect your watch. Tap your watch name when it appears. There we go. There we go. Paired. Simple as that. So that was really easy. So the first thing that you can't do on an iPhone that you can do with an Android phone is connect the watch to your Wi-Fi. Usually it'll only do this on an iPhone if it's going to download an update. And as it basically says here, when you've got Wi-Fi enabled on the watch, it'll sync data from your phone and from your watch to a cloud, so that even when you haven't got your phone on you, you will get all of your latest notifications and things on the watch. So now it's paired with my Android phone. It's working in pretty well the same way. The only difference I can see is that this bit that said, I can't remember what it said before, silent, is now changed to do not disturb. I'm not entirely sure why that is. And if we swipe to the right now, there's a few more items in this menu. For example, we've now got something called Find My Phone. There we go, so that's quite good in case you've lost your phone somewhere. There's Google Hangouts, there's also Google Maps now as well. So this watch doesn't actually have GPS on it, but it uses a GPS on the phone, and there's obviously a location finder as well. OK Google, directions to Norwich City Football Ground. So you can ask it to give you directions, but it does just then load up Google Maps on your phone. But at the very least, it's quite good to show you where you are. I think that's quite good. Now, I've only got one of these watches, obviously, but there's a feature called Together, which allows you to send messages directly to your friend's watch face. So you can look for watches nearby and send messages to other SmartWatch 3s. And if you subscribe to Play Music, which is a Google service, then you can actually sync that music onto the watch and play it through the watch, or use the watch to control music on your phone. So here's the Android Wear app on my Android phone. You can see it looks very similar to the Android Wear app that I had on the iPhone, but there are some crucial differences. For example, if we go into the watch faces, if you click on Get More Watch Faces, it actually takes you to a special part of the Google Play Store where there are watch faces that you can buy, loads of different free ones, basically an endless selection of watch faces. Not only that, there's now also an Essential Watch Apps section, so if you click more on there, again it takes you to a part of the Google Play Store where you can basically download loads of cool apps to actually run on the watch itself, which you just didn't get with the iPhone. So that's a really cool feature. So all in all, there are quite a few extra features that you get when you pair this with an Android phone. So in conclusion, is this watch worth the money? Well, actually, I think it is. I think this Sony SmartWatch 3 is pretty spectacular, actually. Firstly, it's compatible with Android and iPhones, which is great because it means if you've got either phone, you can decide to have this as your smartwatch. Secondly, and one of the big things for me, is that the battery life on this is spectacular, especially when compared to things like the Motorola 360, so that's a really good plus point. Thirdly, the quality of it is astounding. It does feel like a superb bit of kit, so you're really in no doubt when you're wearing this that you're wearing a high quality piece of equipment. And obviously, being an Android Wear watch, it's great that it's got OK Google, it's great that there are a wide selection of watch faces to choose from and apps to install on this watch as well. The only negative points for me are the reduced functionality when connected to an iPhone. The main sort of feature, using it as a watch, is going to be fine when paired with an iPhone. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to check this watch out, I'll leave a link to it in the description box down below. Do remember to subscribe. At 20,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away an iPad mini. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for another unboxing and review.